Welcome to Food Preparation and Nutrition at Pembroke Park School. This is for Year 8 Practical Stir Fry. So in front of you, you can see an ingredients list and the method. We've created a step-by-step guide for you to follow along at home. Now, if you don't have any of the ingredients or you're unable to get some of the ingredients, please swap these out for whatever you can find in the cupboards. For the first step, you're going to need some scales and a bowl. You need to weigh out 100 grams of noodles. Now we need to decide what type of noodles we have. Now we can do this by feeling the texture of the noodles. If they are hard, they will need to be cooked off, and if they are squishy, that means they are fresh, which they can then be added in at a later time. For the hard noodles, you need to boil a kettle and then you need to get a saucepan ready. You will then add the noodles into the saucepan and fill up with boiling hot water from the kettle just to cover them and leave them on a medium heat. Noodles can take between 5 to 10 minutes to cook. You'll notice they are done when the water starts to bubble and they become soft and squidgy. For the next step, we're going to prepare our chilli. Now we are handed a knife, so we need to make sure we're very careful and we always hold the knife in a sensible way. So to prepare the chilli, we need to hold the chilli down and to cut off the top stalk of the chilli. Once this is done, we're going to cut lengthways across the chilli so it's in two halves. We're then going to get rid of the seeds inside. Now it's really important that once you handle the chilli, that you make sure you wash your hands straight after. Once the chilli is in half, we're going to then cut it down into further small pieces. Now, depending on how spicy you like it, if you like it really spicy, you're going to use a whole chilli. But if you're like me and you like a little bit of spice, you're going to use half a chilli. Once you've finished slicing up your chilli, you're going to make a small pile on the edge of your cutting board. Next, we're going to work on our bulb of garlic. Now, we only need one clove here. So, if you pop the knife in slightly and drop down, you can then take one single clove of garlic out. Once this is out, you're going to cut the top and the bottom off of the garlic clove. You're then going to peel it to reveal a yellow skin. We're then going to proceed to crush our garlic. Now, if you have a garlic crusher, you can just pop it in there and crush it to make a little pile of garlic. However, if you don't have a garlic crusher, then you can simply just cut up the garlic into small, tiny slices. Make sure to get all the garlic off of your blade by delicately swiping off the garlic. And please make sure to get rid of any garlic left over in the garlic crusher too. Next, we're going to prepare our ginger. Now, in the video, we already have pre-prepared frozen ginger. If you do have fresh ginger, all you do is need to grate a little tiny piece off into a small pile on the edge of your chopping board. Our next ingredient is mushrooms. Now, what we need to use here is our bridge technique, where we hold our index finger and our thumb over the mushroom and the blade goes carefully in between. We need to slice our mushrooms into nice thin slices. Now, to keep our chopping board nice and clear, what I recommend is you have a spare bowl on the side to put in your sliced mushrooms when finished. We're now going to prepare our onion. So for this, we need our bridge technique, where our index finger and our thumb is holding over the onion. Our blade then needs to slice the onion lengthways in half. We now have two halves of the onion. We're going to pop it on the flat side and we're going to cut off the top of the onion, okay, leaving the root intact. We're then going to peel off the first two layers of the onion, making sure that our root is still intact. For our next step, we're going to create slices with our onion. So we're going to keep our hands firmly on the onion and we're going to slice down into thin strips all the way to the root. A helpful tip is to have a rubbish bowl. This is where you can put any leftover veg or any rubbish that is piled all together to keep your workstation clear. The last vegetable we're going to prepare is our pepper. Now this can be any coloured pepper of your choosing. First of all, we're going to cut off the stem to see inside. Now inside there's going to be a membrane and some seeds. This needs to be carefully cut out and put straight into our rubbish bowl. Once done, we're then going to cut it in half using the flat surface we have. Once in half, we're then going to continue to turn it on its side again and cut it into long, thin strips. Okay, so now we're going to come on to our chicken. Now it's really important that we use a completely separate knife and chopping board. This is to prevent any cross-contamination between the raw chicken and our vegetables. What we're going to do is we're going to hold the chicken down and we're going to tip our knife edgeways straight into our chicken. This is going to create chicken strips that are long enough to then be cooked off for our stir fry. If you find that the chicken strips are too large, then simply just cut them down further in half again to create smaller pieces of chicken. Once you are happy with the size of the chicken strips, you're then going to move this away from any vegetables or equipment near you. You are then going to wash your hands to make sure there is no cross-contamination between the raw chicken meat and any fresh produce. We then need to check on our noodles. We need to make sure that they are cooked thoroughly through and soft enough to be used. The water will be boiling at this point, so please go careful and make sure you handle any saucepan with care. You then need to get a colander out to drain the water over a sink to remove them from the noodles. We are now ready to start cooking off our stir fry. So, first of all, we need to add 15 millilitres of oil to our wok. Now, if you don't have a wok at home, you can use a saucepan. You need to add your ginger, your chilli, and your garlic in at the same time. This needs to be hot, but go careful that it doesn't start spitting. Once it is hot enough, you can feel the heat coming off of it. You then need to start adding in your chicken to be cooked off. Make sure you use a wooden spoon to continuously mix the oil. This is just to make sure nothing gets stuck on the bottom of the pan. This should be over a medium heat. Finally, we're going to add our chicken in. Now, you should be able to hear a sizzle noise when the chicken hits the pan. If the pan starts smoking too much, please turn the heat down. To make sure the chicken is cooked, it should be white on the outside and inside. If you're looking for a more thorough cooked chicken, it should be golden on the outside. Please make sure you check whether your chicken is cooked before you add in the final stage. This is to prevent any food poisoning that may happen. Once we're sure our chicken is thoroughly cooked, so it's white on the inside and golden brown on the outside, we're then going to add in all of our veg. That's our onions, our peppers, and our mushrooms. We're going to add them in until they become soft. So we're going to keep mixing around with our wooden spoon just to make sure nothing catches or gets stuck to the bottom of the wok or frying pan. On to the next stage, we're now going to add in our sauces. This is our soy sauce and our sweet chili. Sweet chili is optional, but it is recommended that you use the soy sauce. We need to add 2 15 ml scoops of soy sauce into our dish. We then need to add in our sweet chili, which is 1 15 ml, which is a tablespoon, into our stir fry. Mix this around so it coats the chicken and the vegetables. To complete this dish, we're now going to add in our noodles. So we need to transfer them from the colander into our wok or frying pan. Use the wooden spoon to mix everything together, which will conclude your stir fry. Cook this all together for 2 minutes. Once the noodles have been reheated, you then need to present your dish. You can do this any way you choose. Be as creative as possible. Here we are choosing a simple plate. However, you can be more creative with your choice of presenting your dish. Please make sure you take pictures throughout and you also send a picture of your final dish to Miss Leach. Happy cooking! Finally, to finish everything off, you need to make sure you try your dish. Now, it might not be everyone's cup of tea. However, in food, we need to try new things. Even if it is the tiniest mouthful, we still try new things. You never know. You might find something you like or a family member likes.